Hi guys, so I'm going to making an illustration on this boo-boo. I've gotten a lot of question about the tutorial I posted about it was too fast, so I'm trying to just illustrate for you guys so you guys can understand better. So let's get to it.
Hi everybody, so I'm going to show you how I created that T Boubou. I don't have a fabric I'm using, so I'm basically just going to make an illustration for you guys. So let's say this is your fabric. You have for front and back. So basically, if you're using zip, you might need to fold the back and front separately, but if you're not using zip, you can just fold it all together. So I'm just going to show you the one with zip. I have folded my fabric. In case you want to add zip to your boo-boo, or you want to add a slit at the back, or you want to do pleats, this one we're just going to be working with zip and then slit. So you can make use of 2 inches allowance. So here you mark 2 inches, right? This will be your back piece, back, and then you bring in another one that's for your front piece, right? But here you're not marking 2 inches, so you make sure you place your fabric on that 2 inches line. This is your front piece, this is your back piece, and this is your zipper allowance, and then for your slit, in case for your pleats also, you will need to attach pleats to it, not that you're forming pleats with the 2 inches, right? The wideness of your boo-boo depends on your sleeve length, where you want your sleeve to stop at. That's why I always tell people you measure from the middle of your shoulder to your desired sleeve length. So that's what you will use. So let's just take, so that's where you are going to mark here at the shoulder part. Let's say you want it to be 20 after measuring from the middle back to your desired sleeve length. So basically this is 2 inches, you just leave this one. So from here you mark your 20 inches. So in case the 20 inches stop here, then you can mark here. That means you're cutting this out. But for the Ankara, the one I used, I just made use of everything, because Ankara doesn't really have length, and we have to fold by width, not the length. For the sleeve part, and in some cases some people like to put shoulder slants, but me mostly I don't put shoulder slants in my boos. So let's just mark, since this is where it stops, let's mark here as where our sleeve will stop. So this is it. So basically you go on first, you mark your shoulder, you mark your neckline, sorry. So you can use different dimensions, right? So you extend this to the back, since this is for the back neckline, and this is for the front, right? Good. So we are done with our neckline. So basically if you want to put shoulder slant, you can mark 1 inches here and then you just take it, but I don't do that. So from here I'm going to measure downwards. So in my video I measured 29 inches, right? The 29 inches is not constant. You can make use of 20, 24, 25. Some people tend to stop around their hips, which is basically 24 inches. So it depends on where your client want that extension to stop, right? So let's just assume I made it of 29 inches, right? Then inwards of that 29 inches, I'm going to mark inward. So basically this inward means this is where I'm going to mark the wideness of my down part. That's the wideness of the down part after our boo-boo effect, right? So mostly I'll tell you to mark 16, because when you mark 16, right, when you mark 16, you take in 1 inches. You should have, at the end you should have something like 60 inches round the down of the boo-boo. That's front and back. You should have 60 inches, 58 inches, and that's very okay for boo-boo. But in case some people tend to like the down to be very slim, so that it can be fitted, so you can tend to work on that one too, and that's why you have slit at the back and pleat. But me, I made use of 16, and that 16 I'll just take it down to the end of my fabric like this, right? Let's go over it again. Firstly, after folding, right, you tend to mark your neckline. Then the wideness of the boo-boo, I told you, depends on where you or your client want your sleeve to stop. That's from your middle back to the end of where you want your sleeves to stop, right? So we just make use of everything that's there. If you want to add shoulder slants, you can add it if you want. Then from shoulder you take it down to your desirable length size that you want for your boo-boo effect, I made it of 29 in my previous video. You can make it of 24, 25. It depends on where you want it to stop. Everybody have their own preference. So after that, then you extend the length inward like this, right? And on that line that we extended, I'm going to mark 16 inches. And I told you that that will give you the wideness of your down part of your boo-boo. So there are some people that likes it to be slim, some people like it to be wide, some people don't like it to be too slim, to be too wide. So it depends on what your clients want. I remember you have a slit at the back, so if you want it to be slim, there is no problem. If you want it to be very slim fitted, you might need to add pleats at the back, right? Basically, this is all what you need. Your full length, you know, you add 2 inches. Let's say this is full length, and then you add 2 inches allowance, right? So this is all what you have. You just go on and cut. So you go on and cut, and then, you know, remember, back neckline first. Then you raise it up and cut your front neckline. Sorry about my cutting. This is my first time using a paper. And then for the slits, you know, you mark your maybe 1 inches 1.5 for your zip. You mark it down to where you want your slits to start, and then you just create this effect, and then you cut out. So for overlap slits, you should have at least like 4 to 5 inches instead of this my 2 inches. For normal slits, your 2 inches is okay. So you have something like this. This is how easy it is to cut time. So basically, if you're using lace, you're using material, you're using cotton fabric, there is no need for you to really line this boo-boo. But in some cases, some clients might want you to line them. Like the one I did, I used a rubber Ankara fabric, not cotton. So I had to use lining, and people were like, ah, you line boo-boo. So you can actually line your boo-boo. So let's just do that. I'll be showing you how I lined the front only, then I'll show you how to join the bodies together. Alright guys, so I've already cut out a lining. So let's say this is our lining, right? And it's not a full lining. If you have enough lining, you can make full, no problem. But this is the line I'm going to cut out, and this is our front piece, right? So basically what you do is the normal way you lined your fabric. So firstly you come like this. This is the front face. Let's take this as our front face of our lining. So what you are doing here is, this is front face, right? You place it front face facing what? Front face. And then you are going to stitch about a ½ inch, right? So after you stitch your neckline, right? Let me stitch it with my machine. Let's see what we get. So you know, you turn it over, right? After turning it over, I hope it works. Okay. So you know, we turned our neckline, right? After turning your neckline, this side I added band to mine, so you know there might be need for extension because it's Ankara fabric. So I'm not turning here, I'm not turning this shoulder, and you can actually leave the sides unturned since they are inwards, right? So what we'll do is, now we'll go in. Basically I need to turn the back piece also, but seriously I don't think, okay, so how do we do it? So sorry, please, I'll be taking this back piece as lining and the back so you can understand. So let's just take it as lining and the back piece. So right, so this is what will happen. So I'm working on only one part of the front piece also. So I'm going to turn the neckline of the back piece. I'll come and show you guys. So I've turned the back neckline. This is the back neckline, and you know when you're turning your back neckline, you're also turning this side because of the zip. so you can get a neat finishing. So you turn the sides of your back. So you're doing that one separately because the back neckline has 2 pieces, right? Not one. We'll manage this neckline. Photo when I was stitching. So let's just do it like this. So you have your front. This is the front, right? And this is one piece of the back. So like I said, I'm going to show you how to use your lining. So in some cases, if you have weaving machine, you don't really need to go through this dress. All you need to do is, after turning your neckline with your lining, you just place it front face facing front face, and you just stitch your shoulder, stitch, and then you weave here. You get to weave the edges, so you know your lining won't show the edge of the lining, so you don't need to do that. But in case you don't want to weave, you tend to do this for the shoulder part. So now this is what we'll do for joining the shoulder. You're not joining separately, you're joining this, you're doing this after you've joined the back piece together. You understand? You put your zip, then you're doing this process. I'm just making use of one back piece, not the 2. So this is our piece for the back. This is our front face, right? This is the front face of the front piece. What I'll do is I'm going to place it like this. Then you open it up. Just open this up. Open this up also, right? So now when you're stitching it, you make sure your lining and the lining of the back, your lining of your back piece and your lining of your front piece align, and your front piece Ankara fabric and your back piece Ankara fabric aligns. I don't know if you understand. So this is my lining, this is my lining. I'm joining them front face facing front face. This is my Ankara fabric, this is my Ankara fabric. I'm joining them front face facing front face. So you're stitching. The way you stitch your shoulders when you're sewing your dresses, so that you can hide in your stitch, that's what you would do. So you just come, make sure the needle aligns, and you just stitch. When you stitch, you have a very neater shoulder, right? This is it, I've stitched it, right? So now let's turn it forward. So when you turn it, you will have something like this. So this is what it's going to look like outside, and this is what you have inside. So basically the stitch will be inside and they won't see it, right? So you turn your shoulder. So you do both for both sides, and very simple, right? So like I said, for the edge I added band, so you add band to the side, and in case you are not adding band, you can just stitch it. You just open up and then you stitch. You fold in and then you hem it, right? And like I said, for material, for lace, you don't really need to line your boubou. Even the Ankara, in some cases, you don't need to line it. The Ankara itself, if you're using a cotton fabric, you don't need to line. It's just that I made use of rubber material, so basically you need to line it or not, it won't really be comfortable on me. That was why I lined mine. So like I told you people, we are working only on one side of the back of the front piece. I'm not doing this side because I'll need to add I'll need to stitch for zip, do the slits, so I'm not doing that part. So now what next are we doing? So what you do is, let me join the bodies together. You take it your back, so you make your front face facing front face, right? Make sure they are equal. So if you're hemming, you do this after hemming. If you're adding band, you're doing this after adding your band. If you're adding maybe anything else to your sleeve part, you do all that before you stitch the bodies together. So now what I will do is, okay, you make sure you get equal ends. If it needs to trim, you trim out and you get equal ends. There is no problem. So let's just make do with this. So this is what we have. So this is on the front face, right? On the back face, sorry. So this is on the back face. This is on the wrong face. So what I will do is, I'll measure the sleeve opening I want. You know, I measured 29, so basically I've already stitched the M in here, but we'll just make use of, at the end you can make use of 27. It's okay. So I'm going to just start my stitch from here, just the normal way you stitch. I'm going to come here and I'll stitch. So after stitching, when you open it up, one thing here is after stitching, you are going to notch this part. You can also trim off the allowance you left, so you can also weave. There is no problem. So let me go and stitch, and then I'll come back and show you what I have. So I've stitched the sides together. I'm doing this because I don't have any fabric that someone wants to sew this down, and I've been getting a lot of questions. So that's why after stitching, you give it a notch, and then you turn your fabric. So like I said, you've added everything you want to add. You've added your zipper, if it's overlapped, you've done your overlapping slits and all. So now you turn. I pray this paper is going to turn. You're gonna have problem in that part, but it's not turning. It's going to tear. It's not going to turn, but basically when you turn it, you should have something looking like this, right? You should. When you turn, it's not going to turn, so let's just leave it. So after turning, you end up having something like this. So this is what you do at the front, please. So now you're stitching on the right face of your fabric. Sorry, I can't turn the paper. Now on this face, let's say this is our right face of our clothes. You've sewn your back and front piece together, you've put the zip, you've done the slit, you're okay, you're done with the clothes. You're not fully done, you're almost done. So now from your shoulder, you're going to come and then you mark your what's it called, make sure your midpoint is out so you can iron. So from your shoulder, you're going to mark your armhole. That's your opening, your sleeve opening, where your hand is going to pass. You make use of 9 inches. Some people make use of 10, 8, 9. 9 is good. You make use of 9 inches. So you do that for both sides, but you're not drawing the line yet on, so you just mark it with your measuring tape, but don't draw this straight line. Mark with your measuring tape and then just make a point where you know your 9 inches is. So let's say this is our 9 inches, this is our 9 inches, right? Then now what we are doing is you divide your bust measurements, divide by 4. Let's say we have 5, but since it's boo-boo, you might need it to be not to be tight. Some people might want it to be fitted. If they want it fitted, you know there's a zip at the back, so you can just use your bust divided by 4. But in case you want it to be a little bit free, to your bust measurement you can add 5 before dividing by 4, and even after dividing you can tend to add 2 inches. So I would have 7. So what I would do is I'm going to measure from the middle of my front piece. That's why I said you should iron so that your midpoint can be visible. So from the middle, you are going to mark that 7 inches to your left side, and also mark 7 inches to your right side. So basically when you join both, you already have half of your bust measurements plus the allowance that we added, right? Good. So after that, 9, then people want it to have shape, you know. So from that 9, you know, from 9, what will give us our waist? Mostly people use 18, right? So you can mark 15, you can mark 16, 17, 18. But in some cases, I'll prefer you mark 15 because that will be better. So you tend to mark 15 here. Let's say we have 15 here. So what you tend to do again is your waist divided by 4. Like I said, let's say we have 3, so you can still add additional 2 to make it to be 5. But for waist, people like it to be snatched, so you might not really need it. But let's say we have 5. So now I'll do same thing like I did. From the midpoint, I'm going to mark my 5 to the left and mark 5 to the right. So now I have half of my waist measurement. So Mostly this extension tends to stop around the hip part, above the hip, which is good. So when it stops around the hip part, it gives it a very fine shape. So what people tend to do is from here they just take it downwards, take it down to the end of the fabric. You know, there's, I wish I can turn it for you, but I can't turn. But when you're sewing and your extension, your boo extension is around your hip part or below your hip, you get to understand what I'm saying. So let's say we have our extension like this. We have our extension here and here, right? So let's say this is the front face. I wish I can turn it, but I can't turn, so I can show you what I'm trying to see. So after so now you're joining this, we'll join these 2 points together. Let's just join it like this, right? So these are our bust, our waist. So for the hip, you can mark your hip measurement. You mark it hip divided by 4 plus additional 2 inches, like I said. So let's say we have our hip is mostly bigger than everything. So let's say we have 7 plus 2, we have 9. So then you on your hip, that's 24 around here, 24, right? So you're going to mark to the left and also to the right again. You're going to mark 9 inches. So after you've joined your bust to your waist, then you're going to come and join it to your hip, right? And mostly it tends to reach the extension, so you just take it like this. Let me take it down small. So you're taking it like this. When you sew, you get to understand. I wish I can turn over this paper to show you what I'm trying to explain, but it's not possible. But if I get a fabric to sew something like this, I'm going to do it for you, inshallah. But I pray you get 1 or 2 from this tutorial. So thank you for watching. See you guys in another of my real video. Thank you. Okay guys, so I turned it over. You see it's turned. So let's try to put a little bit of more here for the extension, so that I can show you what I'm trying to say. So let's say somewhere here. So now you know, from your shoulder you mark what? Your 9 inches, both left and right. Then you impute your measurement. Sorry, your bust divided by 4, you impute it. Then you go down to your 15 inches, 16, 17 or 18. Then impute your waist measurement. Divide by 4, you put it left and right? So let's join that line together. We've joined it together here. I see we have something here, right? So we join it together. Then let's say our extension reaches around, our hip is around here. Good. So now what you're doing, you're joining, right? So the extension should be a little bit down. So you're joining like so. So after, you're not going to stop your stitch. Your stitch needs to reach the end of your fabric a little bit, so you tend to go like this. Sorry for my illustration, the marks, but I know some people will get what I'm trying to say. So it tends to give your boo-boo shape. But in case your clients don't want your boo-boo to be fitted, right, all you need to do is from your bust, from this bust, you just take it down to the end of the fabric in an A-line form. You just take it down like this. So you tend to sew. So like I said earlier, when I get a fabric that I'm going to sew this type of style, I'm going to make the tutorial again. But for now, I seriously don't have any. That's why I tried to do this, but it's my first time, so I'm not really sure if it went well. But you get to learn 1 or 2 from this. So thank you all for watching. See you guys again in my next video. Bye.
So please, in case you're confused, I posted this tutorial on this boo-boo on this YouTube page, so you can go there and watch. You get to understand how I stitch it, because maybe you're a little confused about after stitching the body, after you're done stitching your back and front, then sewing in front of the fabric, right? When you watch that video and then you watch this one too, you're going to get it better by God grace. So please don't forget to like, drop your comments. I'm definitely going to answer your questions, and turn on your notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if this has been helpful. So thank you for watching.